What's happening, everybody? It's Vicious here, and hot off the trails of Horizon Burning Shores, I figured I'd make a video on what I'd like to have in the next Horizon game, just personally. This isn't me trying to put a gun to Guerrilla Games devs' heads or anything. I'm just saying some things that I think would be nice and would improve the overall quality of the game. And the things I'm mentioning, I'm trying to be as constructive as possible, actually. It really sucks when people get on devs pages and they're like, you need to do this or do that, or else the game is going to suck. Really, these are just constructive criticisms that I have, and even some things that I think could be added to enhance the experience, like I said. But anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So the first thing I like to mention is how happy I am with Horizon Forbidden West. I didn't expect it to be a 10 out of 10 for me, but it was a 10 out of 10. Burning Shores was a really good DLC. I give it probably a 8 or a 9 out of 10 in terms of how good it is. But there's still things I think could have been added and could have been done. But I won't get into that in this video. I'll probably make a review on Burning Shores later. But I want to talk about the play styles that you can play as in Horizon Forbidden West. The first one is Warrior, right? We can go down the line. Warrior. So this play style focuses on different melee combinations using the Warrior bow, which is a short range bow. I'll show it to you right here. Is a short range bow. It can be used at the mid range depending on how good you are, and it has a lot of utility purposes. You can use it for elemental buildup, etc., etc. But yeah, Warrior, that's what it's about. Trapper speaks for itself. It's about trapping your enemies and debuffing them, inflicting status effects, using traps that you lay on the ground that explode when they, jump over them, etc., etc. That's the Trapper playstyle. I think it's probably like the hardest playstyle to just naturally get used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty fun. It breaks up the monotony. The Hunter playstyle, I think, is like the most closest to the original Horizon Zero Dawn playstyle, right? So with it, you get enhanced concentration and different abilities that enhance your ability to shoot with the Hunter bow, which is like the standard weapon. The Bolt Blaster, which is like a three round burst rifle, and all sorts of different things in this playstyle. Infiltrator, I skipped this for a reason. Infiltrator is my favorite. It's all about stealth, giving you stealth damage buffs at a range, stealth damage buffs when you try and do a stealth attack, takedown more rather. Machine Master, in my opinion, very similar to Trapper, because you need to trap machines in order to override them, or you need to catch them by surprise. So with this playstyle, how I differentiate it from Trapper, I normally try and pit the machines against each other. I try and ride the machines as much as I can because you get a damage buff for one of the upgrades. And I like to make the machines go berserk, and I think that's the best way to handle Machine Master. Now Survivor, this isn't really a playstyle, but it has an armor, right? The reason why I say it's not really a playstyle because it's more of a buffer. So I got it equipped now. I had a visual equip, but yeah. So as we can see, you get different buffs like low health. You get more valor gauge. You get a stronger melee, more defense. You get to evade more. Low health range, etc., etc. It all depends on you having a low amount of health or getting more health via medicines or things like that. Really, not even medicines. It's more just your the berries that you find out in the wild. You have a really OP Valor Surge named Toughened, and every version of this is pretty good. Level 1 gives you 30 points of health every 2 seconds, 50 for the level 2, and 80 for the level 3. And to put this into context, if you're not familiar, the maximum amount of health that you can now have in Horizon Forbidden West is 800. So it recovering that much health and give you these resistances is kind of ridiculous, right? Really, I think it's just mainly for people who don't care about boosting the other stats and just want to get to the end of the game. But if we're gonna sit and talk about like play styles like the other ones, it's in the skill tree. I think that it could have been better off like using some more conservation. You know what I mean? Like maybe an armor that you put on accentuates one of the skills that you unlock in the survivor skill tree. And I don't know, if you shoot at an enemy and you go up to them, you could recover the ammo unless it's like ammo that explodes. I think that would have been cool because that's what survivors do. Survivors don't just like let stuff break. And at least in my opinion, you get stuff back, you know. Yeah, and that's a technique that you get in Tomb Raider 2013, I believe. I believe that's something that you can upgrade with Lara Croft. But yeah, I just thought that would be good because they got something with the Shredder Gauntlet, right? So the Shredder Gauntlet, if you don't know, you can toss this at enemies up to 3 times, right? It comes back to you and you can keep grabbing it, keep grabbing it without wasting your ammo. And the 3rd time you shoot it, it explodes, right? So the thing about it is most Shredder Gauntlets come with more than one ammo type. So you can keep switching between ammo types. If you finish, if you get 3 returns with the Shredder Gauntlet with one ammo type, you can use the other one, and then you can like go back to the ammo type that you prefer, and everything will be completely fine. That's conservation of ammo, and I just think that would be cool, you know, if you could do something similar with other weapons. Most of these skill trees have weapons that indicate like what they're about, right? Like for instance, brace shot. This skill tree, this is the infiltrator skill tree, right? And you get range damage bonuses for like being in stealth. You get different attacks for your sharp shot bow, which is your long range bow, it's your sniper basically. And yeah, with the hunter, you get different attacks for the hunter bow and for the bolt blaster. This one, it makes sense with the shredder because the shredder is like the easily most conservative weapon, right? But then we have the bombs, the blast slings. I don't understand this because they're like the most wasteful weapon that you can get, right? So look, this is nothing really. The elements, they're not that bad. You can find these elements virtually anywhere off of like any other like, you know, machine. But where it gets bad is we go to the blast bombs, the explosive bombs for the blast sling. So like, look at this. You can only carry 35 blast pace at a time, but every time you use one of these and you try and like, you know, get your ammo back, you use 3, right? That's just a regular explosive bombs. It only has a explosion power of 190. And then this one has an explosion power of 304, right? And you think to yourself, well, yeah, I definitely want to use this more, but it takes 7 blast pace and it takes 15 volatile sludge. I'm sorry, 1 volatile sludge. You can only carry 15 on you. Now, what I propose is, along with conserving ammo, maybe when you have one of the survivor outfits on, you could also use less materials to make more ammo as well. I think that would be good because otherwise, like, you know, you're just using a lot of resources and you're using a lot of resources for you know, something that's in a skill tree for Survivor. But that's all I got to say about Survivor, really. I just think that it would do better in the next game if they had everything that they have right now, which is good. They did a really good job with all these. I don't want that to be misconstrued, but I do want to see more conservation. You know what I mean? More conservation of resources, because that I think is good in and of itself. You know, and I truly believe that some of these playstyles bleed into one another. Like for instance, I can use Hunter power shots, this Valor Surge, and I can have an Infiltrator playstyle. And because I have stealth range with this playstyle, I get so much more damage using a Valor Surge from the Hunter skill tree. You know, so imagine you got a Survivor armor on, right? And you're using a trap that takes a hell of a lot of resources. Like for instance, the tie that binds is a good example, right? So look at this. Explosive canister harpoon. It takes 8 blast paste. You know what I mean? I need this, and it would make for a good trap, because guess what? When an enemy sees, when you're around an enemy and you shoot one of these, they don't really know, they notice you, but they don't attack you. And let me give an example here. I'm trying to find a good spot. Sure, why not? We'll go see the acid bristlebacks and you'll probably see what I'm talking about. Just need to find a good bush. Alright. Hopefully they don't see me coming. Alright, good. It's like they knew that I needed to show this off. So, watch this. Oh, whoops, I accidentally hit his leg. I did not try to do that. You see how I could just lay an unlimited amount of these down and they don't notice? That's good. And check this out. I'm going to put a sticky bomb on that. This is a trapping playstyle, like I said. I probably shouldn't be so close. I'm going to get hit. Bam. Wasn't that amazing? That was fucking amazing, if you ask me. Sorry. But anyway, let's move on. Alright, so my next suggestion for the next game is a little bit of an improvement on the Trapper playstyle, right? As you can see, it looks like the Trapper playstyle, you can see visually, it looks like it has like a little less meat than the other ones, right? Well, I wondered about that, and I kind of wondered why they didn't do a little bit more with it in Burning Shores. So, for instance, right, this playstyle is centered around, like I said before, it's centered around doing debuffs, setting up a bunch of traps that enemies can't help but to fumble over, and you know, by which case like they fumble over them and they explode, etc., etc. There was a couple things added in Burning Shores that were pretty interesting. Rope caster experts, one of my favorites, because as you can see, when you hit an enemy with a rope and the rope runs out, if you hit them one more time, the rope will come back on them. That is really good. That is really good, and that really will work with the warrior playstyle. But anyway, yeah, smoke bomb heal. That's a little weird. You would think that would be infiltrator. I thought it was. But anyway, so I guess my suggestions when it comes to this playstyle would be make the canisters a little bit more interesting, because it's within the same class as the rope caster. Canisters come from the rope caster category of weapons, right? So, yep, see right here? Rope casters. Now, it's cool that with these weapons, right, you can still cast a rope. You see what I just did there? I just casted a rope, and I just discovered recently, I guess you could just cast these unlimited. Well, maybe not. Well, I'm going to have to redact that. But anyway, you can cast a rope with these still, right? And that's nice, but it needs another weapon technique. Like for instance, right? I'm setting up these canisters, but they're not going to automatically detonate. And I kind of find that an issue, because this would make a great trap. If you set these canisters up near an enemy, they're gonna hear the canister plop to the ground, right? But when you shoot after that, I play the Trapper playstyle very sneakily, because again, these playstyles can bleed into one another, but if you really think about it, they all are individualized, right? Like, I could be an infiltrator and not even lay down a single trap. I could lay down a trap and not even be an infiltrator. But for my playstyle, I like to be a little silent, right? So I don't see why I can't shoot a canister. Oh, they're already popping. Hold on a second. I had to lay the acid ones down. So these pop off instead of like eventually exploding. Not a fan of that. And let me show you something. So when you attack one of these, and these can land on enemies too, right? They can land on enemies and then they can explode. Look what happens when one of them explodes right next to each other. Nothing. It damages the other canisters. So it has a possibility of just going away. and it's kind of a waste of a canister. Now, my suggestion, I know this is long-winded, but I had to give you an example, had to give you some context. My suggestion personally would be maybe make a detonation weapon technique, because you got penetrating rope, and penetrating rope, what that is, in case you're wondering, is basically you can shoot the rope at any enemy, right? And it's going to hit, it's going to sink in. There's no need to, charge it up or anything. Now, it doesn't give you the same, results. It's a little bit weaker, but it's faster, right? There should be a weapon technique where you can shoot your canister and make it explode by some sort of detonation or something. I think that'd be neat, because as of right now, look at this. You hit it with that arrow, nothing. I wonder if this will make this explode. No, it doesn't. You have to have the right type of ammo, which is a pain because it takes up a lot of your weapon wheel. So luckily, this canister caster or whatever I have corresponds to the new legendary warrior bow pretty well. But I don't have a plasma arrow. I need to get something with the plasma arrow, which is rare. And I have all this plasma, but none of them are arrows, you know what I mean? So for the trapper playstyle, I think there should be an automatic detonation. And honestly, I don't think that the enemy should be that distracted by these, because I'm going to show an example actually. Let's find another example. Another place to show this. I'm going to go to this campfire here, and I'm going to show what the tripwire does. Right? Oh, another suggestion. Tripwire should do 0 damage to Aloy. I hate games that do that. So here I am. There's a bunch of enemies around, as you can see. Guess what I'm about to do? They didn't hear anything. That's stuck in the ground, though. It definitely stuck in the ground. But look what happens when I shoot this. You saw that? I don't know why it was just a 1. He's coming over here, basically.
That should fry its circuits a bit.
Yeah. So, I don't understand why the canister alerts them, but the tripwire doesn't. And I'm not saying that the tripwire should alert them, because to me that's just good game design, honestly. It's not immersive, but it's good because it works for traps, So that's all I have to say about the trapper playstyle. Just again, just for review, I want the canister to have some sort of manual detonation. I need the canisters to have some sort of ability where if one of them explodes, the other one explodes if it's within range. And I need the tripwires not to hurt you at all. Yeah, so that's basically all I have for the trapper playstyle. So this next one is gonna kind of be hard to show off. And the reason being is because it only happens sometimes. So hopefully I can show it off within this gameplay here. So, there's sort of a problem with the Infiltrator class, and it recently popped up because it got updated, right? So previously, if you were fighting a big machine or a medium-sized machine and you took more than a third of its health by a very powerful bow shot, right? If you did that, they would act the same way as any other enemy in the game. They would be alerted, and they'd look in the direction that it came from, and then if you shot it again, then they'd know where you are. And that to me is, pretty good, decent design, if you ask me. But what they did in a recent patch, I don't really like it, because it kind of makes being a ranged infiltrator harder. Basically, if you take a third of the damage of an enemy now, what happens is they're alerted to your position and they start fighting you from that point. But it doesn't work for everybody. Humans aren't affected, and neither are smaller enemies like the Watchers or anything along those lines. But if you're a Claw Strider or bigger, then you're being alerted. Don't really care for that. But the main thing about Infiltrator besides that is there's this weird thing. So how on Ghost of Tsushima, for example, right? All throughout that game, you learn how to, assassinate faster, and it becomes a very exciting thing. You get to do all these cool stealth assassinations. You move out the way, yada, yada, yada. The stealth assassinations in this game are pretty neat, but sometimes they take a long time to play out. Like, I feel like that's one of the shorter ones, right? And look at this. This is something I was hoping would happen too. Sorry, my dog's in the background. So I want to explain this really quick before it goes away. Stealth Stalker. Stealth Stalker is a wonderful, awesome Valor Surge, but ever since this Valor Surge just came out, it's had inconsistent times in which like you turn invisible again. I don't understand why that is, but it hasn't been fixed. But yeah, that was like a shorter one, right? A shorter assassination. Let's see how this one works. Cool animation. Still took, like, I don't know, a long time to come out. And I'm not invisible again yet. There's one where she just flat out jumps on the enemy, which I don't know if I'll even get to show that one. Turn invisible, Playboy. So that was an air assassination, for lack of a better word, in this game. And it took a while, right? It's not like enemies take a long time to turn around. And that's kind of my issue with Infiltrator. And I love Infiltrator. I think it's like my favorite playstyle. Like I said, even with the nerfs. I just wish that there was like a node or some sort of like special ability where you could attack enemies and like take them down quicker. That would also lend itself to like more useful legendary gear, right? So bless Guerrilla Games, they gave me 3 legendary Infiltrator armors in this game, right? And all 3 of them look really cool. I love them. Utaru Winterweave is probably my favorite. I don't know, Quinn Marine is like really sick, especially with this color. But these are my favorite armors in the entire game. But they have some overlap, right? So Utaru Winterweave, it's really the best for getting the stealth assassinations and getting far range stealth attacks, right? And then we have Quinn Deadeye. It is kind of like a hybrid between stealth and like Hunter, because as you can see, Hunter has deep concentration, concentration regen, stamina regen, and you get some of those things with this one. So this one implies that you should really go for a Hunter Valor Surge, if you ask me, right? Because you get the most benefits from playing range, right? And I outfitted it with, you know, some legendary weaves, you know. But anyway, then there's Quinn Marine. This one stumped me for a bit, but I found like a good playstyle for it, I guess. So it has concentration as well. Concentration buffs, and has stamina regen. Valor Surge Master is like the most important one, if you ask me. I think it lends itself to using like the most easily refillable Valor Surge that you can find, dealing with like, I don't know, close range or even far range. But my point is, in saying all this, is I feel like if you're going to limit the amount of skills that these outfits upgrade for specific you know, play styles, I feel like if you add more stuff, like one of them lets you destroy or kill things faster. In this case, it'd probably be Utaru Winterweave. That would be sick. And it'd be a lot easier to determine which one I want to use, which it is right now. I could use any one of these 3. Like, I have a move for all these outfits, but I guess I say this because, you know, if you're gonna add more than one legendary, then, you know, add a couple more things, like, you know what I mean, just to break up reasons why you would choose the different outfits. But I think that's it for Infiltrator. I think that might be it for all of them. Okay, I lied. One last thing. There's been kind of a problem with Horizon since Zero Dawn, and I feel like it's melee. So melee is better in this game by like 100 times better than it was in Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn had like some of the worst melee I had seen, right? And Forbidden West isn't too hot itself. They've done a lot of things to change it. Like, they've added a move that charges you, so you go back to your first attack, so you can like keep redoing combos. They added light to heavy attacks. It'd be cool if they added heavy to lights in the next game. That's a suggestion I'm going to work off of. It'd also be cool if they were more effective against bigger machines. You see people in the game that are NPCs fight machines with swords, spears. Some of them might even use a dagger every now and again. It would really be nice if there were multiple weapons too, because I love Aloy's spear. I feel like it's one of the defining things that defines her. Of course, like since the first game, you use it to override machines. You use it as a melee weapon that's pretty good. Gives her pretty good range. I would like to see, being selfish, I'd love to see a dagger of some sort, like a really strong dagger that she can use for quicker stealth assassinations, which would go with Infiltrator. But also you can use it in combat as like your quick weapon. The spear could be like the middle range weapon, and then maybe she gets a sword, and the sword is faster than the spear, not as fast as a knife, has like less crits than the spear. There's so many directions you could take with the warrior class, and give it some valor surges that actually lend itself to like the actual playstyle, right? Critical boost is more of like a hunter thing. As you can see, they're not using the spear when they're showing a preview. My dog is tired as hell. Sorry if you heard that. Melee might lends itself to the style swimmingly, especially since they added the ability to add elements to the spear, which could also be like a trapper playstyle thing if you add a lightning capsule to your spear. Warrior's Vigor is more of like a survivor thing, which isn't like a real playstyle to me. Like I said, it's like a buffer. But I guess it does work for Warrior. But yeah, overall, I think those are like the changes I like to see the most. I could do Machine Master real quick as well. So Machine Master, I would like to see you be able to use a machine and like specifically tell the machine what attack you're going to do, like Final Fantasy VII Remake style. I want to go to the radial dial menu, and I want to press a certain button and use a machine's meter, right? And I want to make the machine do the attack that I tell it to do. Not only that, but I would like to have a repertoire of machines. I love to have the ability to call a machine that I've overridden on one part of the world back to me, if only just one or one at a time. If I could override Ravager and bring it over to, I don't know, the Burning Shores and make it attack another Ravager, I think that would be really sick. Using them as like some sort of a summon. And while I'm at it, going back to Infiltrator real quick, bring back Lure Call from Zero Dawn, where you whistled and if you were locked on to a certain enemy, the enemy would come towards you. Instead of throwing a rock at the ground close to you, I want Lure Call back. But anyway, that also could work for the Machine Master too. But yeah, mainly Machine Master only needs like more machine capabilities. Like Ride on the Machine is cool, but let me go ahead and summon like a certain type of a machine. I'm not saying I need a Slither Fang or anything along those lines. I'm saying like a Ravager, a Claw Strider, a Spike Snout, things like that would be really nice. Maybe like if I upgraded enough, the biggest one I could get is a Behemoth. That would be cool. But I think that's it for this video. Hunter is pretty much perfect. There's not really much I would add to it. It does its job pretty well. So, not that the others don't, but like there's not much I could think of. This is where the devs' cleverness comes into mind. But anyway, that's it for this video. I will catch you guys on the flip side. If you like this, please like, share, and comment.